Ashe and Grand Rising, a grand day to you all once again, my fellow natural native earthly humans. And welcome to this part 13 of this another of my thought-provoking perspectives titled, and my thought-provoking presentation titled Retirement Plan for People 40 to 75. Another perspective with yours truly, I, the Mystic Philosopher. And as customary, I have to remind you all, my people, all my listeners, that it is high time for thinking. Yes, the thing that people are afraid of the most people are afraid of the most, thinking. It's high time for thinking. If it's not now, it's never. And it's high time for reason and for reasoning. Now, if you haven't yet watched part 1 to part 12, I ask that you please do so before you're watching this part 13. And as just to remind you that by doing so, you'll get a better understanding, and understanding of my perspectives, the insights and the thoughts that I share. Not to con you, as in convert you or convince you, but just to share with you another perspective from which you no doubt will realize that I too am thinking. Now, at the end of part 12, I promised that I, would return to and continue my commentaries on lesson 1, titled From Cradle to the Grave, Family Matters. And lesson 1, From Cradle to the Grave, is from the article that from the not the Global Mail, the Daily Mail, an article titled The Wisdom of Wolves, Enchanting New Book Reveals How They Care for Their Elderly, play with their young, and always put family first. And it's by one Eli H. Radinja. Now, let me continue by quoting again lesson 1, quote from the article, and I quote lesson 1, From Cradle to Grave, Family Matters. Few scenes in nature are as heartwarming to observe as a wolf family. In contrast to the growling, fang-flashing creatures that we see in films, that's a word I always have a problem with. Most of my people have a problem with that word. Really easy to say film, but it's films. You know what I'm talking about. The lives of wolves are characterized by harmony and playful, affectionate interactions. The pups are the beloved and protected treasure of the pack. The whole family looks after them, including aunts, uncles, and other brothers and sisters. Old and wounded family members are brought food and never abandoned. Every member of the pack knows where his place is. For family, wolves will sacrifice their lives. Unquote. Now, unlike most of us, if not all of us, that are called humans today, the thing that matters most, or the thing that matters the most to wolves, is their family. Meaning each individual member that makes up the pack, or if you prefer, that makes up the group of wolves, or the unit, or the thing that matters most to it or to them is the health, the safety and security, the survival, the harmony, the happiness, and the overall well-being of the entire pack, aka the entire family, from cradle to grave. From the day of their birth, if not from the day of their conception in their mother's womb, to the day of their death and the disposal of their remains, family matters, and family matters above all else. Wolves. The evidence will show, and most of us, if we were to be truthful, we will admit that the same definitely cannot be said of most of us, if not all of us, that are called human families today. In fact, most of us don't even know what a family is, let alone have a family. And most of us that do have what we call a family, as a result of bloodline or ancestral connections, the amount of hatred, the amount of bickering, the amount of inside fighting and backbiting, backstabbing, the amount of envy, hatred, bad mind, the amount of jealousy, robbery, trickery, dishonesty, disunity and disharmony, you name it or you name them, that goes on within that which some of us call family, is beyond reproach. It's beyond insanity. Unlike most of us, if not all of us, that are called humans, naturally or instinctively, each wolf knows that it could not be alive, let alone survive, mature into adulthood, live and experience health, safety and security, happiness, etc., without its physical body, etc. And consequently, it does all that it takes to care for, to maintain, and to preserve in the best possible condition its physical body. Unlike most of us, if not all of us, that are called humans, naturally or instinctively, each wolf knows and understands that its physical body is a system that is made up of individual parts, aka individual components and individual organs that are united and are working together as one system, as one whole, as one unit, or one, and for what? For one purpose. And that purpose is what? For one common goal. And that common goal is for the benefit of all the individual parts or the individual organs that are involved. It knows that one part cannot function by itself or without the other parts. It knows that no individual part in the system or in its body is independent and can function independent of the other parts, aka independent of the other organs. Yes, the wolves know. Unlike most of us, if not all of us, that are called humans naturally or instinctively, each wolf knows and understands that every other wolf member of the pack is an extension of its body. Unlike most of us, if not all of us, that are called humans naturally or instinctively, each wolf knows and understands that each organ or each member in its body has its own unique and vitally important function in the body. A unique and vital role that no other member can fulfill, or that no other member can play effectively. Example: it knows and understands that the kidney cannot play the role of the heart or function as the heart. The kidney cannot function as the heart. It knows that the liver cannot play the role of the eyes. It knows that the lungs cannot play the role of the brain, etc. And nor is each organ in competition with each other and wanting to play each other's role. And unlike most of us, if not all of us that are called humans, naturally or instinctively, it knows and understands that it cannot play the role or function in the role or in the capacity for which it was not qualified or for which it is not qualified and duly assigned in the body, aka in the family, or in the pack, or in the group. It knows. Unlike most of us, if not all of us that are called humans, naturally or instinctively, it knows and understands that to attempt to do so will only bring about failure and disaster, not only to itself, but to the entire body, aka to the entire pack. Disaster to the entire group or to the entire family. Its entire family. It also know and understand that to be a loner, also known as a lone wolf, and to prematurely wander off by itself, aka to prematurely disperse, to live and to go hunting alone, etc., is not only a foolish and unproductive thing to do, but it is also it knows that it is also a very dangerous and life-threatening thing to do. And I ask that you please take note that I said prematurely wander off by itself, aka prematurely disperse, and not just wander off or disperse or dispersal by itself. And why? Because quite unlike a lot of us that are called humans, wolves know and understand that they cannot all live at home and among the pack for the rest of their lives. They know and understand the importance of them reproducing and passing on their genes for the continuation of their bloodline, aka for the continuation of their wolf species or their wolf race. Unlike many of us that are called humans and humankind, etc., especially those that call themselves the elites, the superior ones, etc. They, meaning wolves, also know and understand the dangers of incest and inbreeding. They know. They know and understand that incest, or aka incestuous behavior, inbreeding and cohabiting with their siblings and blood relatives, will breed and produce weaknesses. It will breed and produce weakness. It will breed and produce sickness, diseases, and an inferior gene pool, an inferior race, an inferior descendants of wolves. So some of the people calling themselves superior are really inferior because they're breeding with each other. And they come to project themselves as being inferior in all different aspects of lives. But wolves know better. Thus, they know and understand that once they are mature, aka once they come of age and the need arises for them to disperse, then they must do so, aka they must leave the pack and go in search of a mate and find their own uninhabited wolf territory to start and build their own family, their own group, their own pack. Here is a quote from an article titled Lone Wolves and Dispersal. And this is taken from a website called wolf.org. And I think that this article, this quote can further add some credence to those points I've just made mention of. And I quote, dispersal functions to help wolves find the necessary combination of a wolf pack free area, food, resources, and a suitable mate, unquote. Now, unlike most of us, if not all of us that are called humans, naturally or instinctively, It knows, wolf knows, and understand that if or when an organ or a member in the body is sick, or if or when an organ or a member in the body malfunctions, then the entire body will be what? Sick, and will malfunction as well. And therefore it is, or it will be unable to function optimally and to its maximum capabilities, or to its maximum capacity. Naturally or instinctively, each wolf knows that each and every individual organ that make up the body, the system, function in their individual role or in their individual capacity is equally important, and that without each other they are unable to function as a family, or as a pack, or as the group, or as the unit. The unit or the pack will easily suffer defeat and possible death. Again, I quote, few scenes in nature are as heartwarming to observe as a whole family. Oh, what a wonderful world this would be if the same could be said, if the same could be honestly said of most families, if not all families, of those of us that are called humans today. Oh, what a beautiful world. What a wonderful world. The article continues, and I quote, in contrast to the growling, fang-flashing creatures that we see in films, the lives of wild wolves are characterized by harmony and playful, affectionate interactions, unquote. The lives of wolves, the lives of wild wolves. Wolves, meaning wolves in their natural habitat and functioning naturally, are characterized by what? Harmony and playful, affectionate interactions. Again, oh, what a wonderful world this would be, or this could be, if the same could be said, and if the same was true of most, if not all, families of those of us that are called humans today. Again, the article continued. It said, and I quote, the pups are the beloved and protected treasure of the pack. The whole family looks after them, including aunts, uncles, and older brothers and sisters, unquote. Again, oh, what a wonderful world this would be if the same could be honestly said, and if the same was true of most, if not all, families of those of us that are called humans today. As I've mentioned earlier, unlike the children of most of us, if not all of us that are called humans, the wolf pups have the best and the safest child care services and environment to live and to thrive in. There is no family rams among wolves, among the wolf pack. There is no rape. There's no sexual abuses, no incest, no mental abuses, no physical abuses, no kidnapping, no child trafficking where, there's no such thing, and there's no trafficking on sale or swapping of pups, as we know of, and I know we're of, happen among so-called human families. And all the other form of trauma, there is all the other form of traumas that some of us are aware of. and that are coming to light today. What is happening to what uncles are doing to their nieces and nephews, young boys, young girls, babies, infants, but family rams. That don't happen among wolves, or that one can think of. Some of the evils that one can think of. These things don't happen among wolf families, wolf pack. And why? Because the pups are the beloved and the most, listen carefully now, the pups, the young ones, the children, if you will, are the beloved and the most protected treasure of the pact. Can we say that about, can these humans say that about our children, all of our children? Because unlike most of us, if not all of us that are called humans today, wolves know, wolves understand, wolves understand, and wolves overstand that their pups, aka their young ones, they know and understand that they are their future and the survival of what? Their wolf race. That's why they are beloved and treasured. So, oh, what a wonderful world this would be, or this could be, if the same could be said, and if the same was true of most, if not of all families of those of us that are called humans today. And again, I quote from the article, old and wounded family members are brought food and never abandoned, unquote. Old and wounded family members, aka old and wounded members of the wolf pack, are brought food and are never abandoned. I ask that you please note the words never abandoned. What does this really mean? It means that unlike most of us that are called humans, and especially those of us that are called civilized humans, educated humans, cultured humans, sophisticated humans, you name it or you name them, old and wounded family members of wild wolf pack are not abandoned and left alone to be tortured, left alone to be viciously attacked or to be killed by their enemies or by the predators. And nor are they abandoned and left alone in some prisons or in some hospitals. Now people are dropping off their old and elderly at the hospitals and just run leave them. Then they left are abandoned in some hospital or in some old age homes, also called nursing homes, or by themselves in some place to rot, to live the most lonely rest of their days and to die sometimes some very painful, but above all, some very lonely deaths. This again I quote, old wounded family members, aka old and wounded members of the wolf pack, are brought food and never left alone, is the best and only health care. This again is the best and only health care and retirement plan that wolves knows, or that wild wolves know and practice. And from my perspective, this is the best health care and retirement plan that exists in nature. This is the most ideal health care and retirement plan that one can think of. Now, can you imagine living your life knowing that you are loved? Not believing, but knowing that you are loved and cared for from cradle to the grave. From the day of conception or from the day of birth to the day you die, you know that you are loved and cared for. Knowing that if or when you get sick, your family, aka your loved ones, are there and will be there to take care of you. knowing that they will be patient with you and to nurse you back to good health. Can you imagine living your life knowing that if or when you should live long enough, if you should live long enough and get old, that you will not be abandoned, that you will be brought food, nurturing food, because you don't need a lot as you're old, but you'll be brought food, nurturing foods, and that your loved ones will be there taking care of you even until you expire, even until you take the last breath. Can you imagine? In fact, that was the way it was, or that's the way it used to be among our most honorable African ancestors. We know that's a part of our culture. And among other natural native humans of the earth. We know that. And now you know why most of them, if not all of them, the meaning our earlier ancestors, were able to live such long, happy, and healthy lives. Now you know why. It was because they were able to live their entire lives in confidence and in the knowledge and in confidence, knowing that they would never be abandoned and that they would be respected and cared for by their loved ones until they do their part. They know to live with that knowledge like that is. Can you imagine? From my perspective, one of the reasons, if not the main reason, why most people get sick in the first place, mentally and otherwise, and why they don't live healthy, happy, and long, and why we won't live healthy, happy, and long anymore, is because of fear. That's why we ain't gonna live that long. Because of fear. And in this particular case, those of you who listen to me talk about the power and this thing called fear before, but in this particular case, guess what? It is the fear of abandonment. The fear of abandonment is a serious thing. The evidence will show, and the evidence will no doubt continue to show, that the people among us that live the most healthy, the most happy, the most fulfilled, and the longest lives are those that are literally provided for, literally cared for, and are surrounded by their closest family members. And the evidence has shown, and will no doubt continue to show, that if or when we are tired of providing for, if or when we are tired of caring for and surrounding our parents and elders with our physical presence, and wish to get rid of them, and get rid of them quickly, is to do what? To place them in some nursing homes. Let's place them in some old age homes, or we call them retirement homes. To drop them off, leave them at some hospitals. Or any other similar institutions. To be what? To be cared for, to hopefully be cared for by dead strangers is not the same. A stranger's care and a stranger's affection is not the same like the blood energy, the blood family. If you want them dead quick, just drop them off there. From my perspective, once we place them there, for example, once we place our parents or our elders there, in any of the aforementioned institutions, we can immediately start planning for their funeral. Yes, we can immediately start planning their funeral service and their burials. Because it is guaranteed that they are going to die sometimes of loneliness and what? Abandonment. They're going to die soon. And it does not matter how lavish and expensive the institutions are, or how lavish and expensive the services that they may provide. The fact is that there is no substitute for the love, the physical touch, the care, the healing energy, the healing vibration, and the presence of a close family or of close family members. We need that energy, we need that environment. There's no substitute for that. Give credit to all those who work in the healthcare environment and care for sometimes people that are abandoned. Right? And just because some people can afford to put them people there, they leave them and expect others to take care of them. And because they are paying for it. No, it's not the same. That don't happen among wolves. Wolves don't just drop off their elderly someplace and leave them someplace. You don't see that in nature. But this is another topic for another time, and I will have much more to say on those facts later. But again, I've run out of time, my people. I've run out of time allotted for this segment, and thus I will have to end this part 13 right here. So I ask that you please join me in part 14 for the continuation of what? Retirement plan for people 40 to 75. Another perspective with yours truly, I, the Mystic Philosopher. And where and when I will return and to pick up on this lesson 1, from cradle to grave, family matters. From the article, The Wisdom of Wolves, an enchanting new book reveals how they care for their elderly and play with their young and always put family first. Give credit to Eli H. Radinja. As I continue talking about the animal called what? Wolves. And their relationship with their young, with their parents, with their elders, and how we humans today could possibly learn a lot from them. And also as I continue asking the question, can our children, our spouse, or members of our families or close relatives abandon us and refuse to take care of us when we are old, and especially if or when we are determined by them to be good for nothing, or to be of little value, or to value nothing. And I think that it is going to get even more interesting, if not informative. So please, I ask that you stay tuned and join me then for part 14. In the meantime and between time, in your becoming my people. Yes, I just will that you be more and more and much, much more, and not less. I suggest you don't ask no one to be less you. Be more and more and much, much more. For I am the Mystic Philosopher. Ashe, 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 I say.